Well, I've got myself into a little bit of a pickle here. This oak tree that I was trying to take down, I thought was gonna clear the tops of the trees around it, but it ran into, well, I've taken down 1, 2, 3, 4 small ones over here and another one over here that's maybe 6 inches in diameter or so, and it is hanging up a little bit on this trees past this one here that I just took down, and it's just a little bit of a touchy situation to try and undercut some of these that I've already got that it was leaning on, and in the end it'll come down. I've had these trees, or this kind of happened with some other trees here behind the house that I've cut down already. Little ambitious, I guess, but we're gonna do our best to get it down safely. I might have to go sharpen the saw a little bit. It was a little dull feeling as it was going through these trees anyways. All right, so all the smaller trees that I already cut up that this was getting hung up on are down. They're down on the ground. So what it's getting hung up on is trees right out here in front, and obviously I don't want to go standing underneath this tree to cut any of those. It's also getting just kind of hung up here on the stump. It is, I mean, it's completely disconnected, but it's not. It'd be kind of nice if that was let go, because then it might kind of go backwards and just give it enough relief to go through these trees. Well, that's about as down as it's going to get for the time being, I think. I don't think there's much more I can do until I start doing a little bit of cutting up on it. Turns out a little bit of brute force goes a long way. It just had to shift maybe 6 inches off of the stump, and it's on the ground, so at least I don't have to worry about it kicking back or anything while I maybe walk behind the stump or anything like that. So I'm gonna start doing a little bit of cutting, and hopefully we can get this thing all the way to the ground. Turns out it's a little hard to do this when you run out of gas, so gotta make a quick trip to the hardware store and we'll finish this up when I get back. Back with some fuel. Sun's starting to go down through the woods and I'm gonna run out of light before too long. We'll see how much of this I can get cut up, at least down all the way to the ground. I'd like to get that not precariously in the trees anymore, but if I can get some rounds cut up, we'll maybe split a little bit. So here we go. There we go. All right, guys, that's going to be enough for today. I got some rounds split up, and I'm just not gonna lug them out of the woods this evening. By the time I get the splitter up and going, I'm gonna have about 10 minutes of light left. So we'll get those bucked up, or not bucked up, but we'll get those loaded up and over the splitter for next time. I'm glad I could get out of this pickle today. Makes me feel a lot better having that tree down on the ground.